All right, here we go. Hi, friends. This is the Flux meeting in the US time zone. Today's October 30th. It's a Thursday in most places in the world, I think. And we've got Mateus, Deepti, Stefan, and I to talk about Flux stuff. Friends, what do we want to put on the agenda?
So let's get Dipti showing us the demo. Dipti,
Mm-hmm.
are you up for it?
And you're muted, Deepti.
Oh,
You
I'm
look excited
sorry.
though.
No, I'm surprised more than excited. Uh, so the KubeCon that demo? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's
Mm.
uh let's go over that.
I have not prepared talking wise, but I can show you what I have so far.
So I suggest you show us the recording of
Mhm.
the demo so we
Yes,
can all three review it.
sounds good. Um,
I'll yeah, Monday I plan to work on the slides for the maintainers track. So I'm going to create a Google slide and I'm going to share it with you. So we can collaborate on that together. You can put your diagrams in there. Um, and yeah, maybe middle of the week, you and me, we can meet on a quick Zoom and go over all the slides and talk about the timing. Uh, Okay, so agenda plan with Dipti for the meeting. Then let's talk a little bit about um, the Flux the Flux booth and what we want to do there. We also need to put up the page on the Flux website. Lee, can you take a task
This is
for
the
yourself?
Sorry, Stefan, the presentation for the demo that you and Deepti are planning, it's this one on Sched, right? Which is the Git list GitOps one.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And
this
this
should
is
be maintainers track, right?
oh, this is the maintainer track talk, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go throw that uh track session, and the title is Git list GitOps. Okay.
Okay.
What were you asking for a note on, Stefan?
So do an action item for yourself to set up the page on the FluxCD website. So we
This is
have
the fluxid.io/kubecon
yeah,
site.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can look at the history of the page and see how we did it for all the other KubeCons. It's um
Yeah. This
basically
is on website repo,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, website content KubeCon should be content EN. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And then
here,
might be able to just put in KubeCon QR code, content in
no, no, no,
2024 KubeCon MD. This is pretty recent. There must be a 2025 for EU. No.
no. KubeCon MD, if you just type KubeCon MD.
Index. Hmm. Oh, this is blogs. Huh.
No, this is block tracking. Let's see where this is. It's so should be.
Oh, wasn't this a Google site at one point?
Yeah, we moved it off. We don't want that Google site anymore. Let me figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
where did
need
we
to
put
talk
this?
to Kingdom to Kingdom can tell you exactly what's the procedure now because we got rid of that stuff.
27. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to search for this way. Okay, well, I have that as an item, so we don't have to figure it out right now. Uh,
Yeah.
we definitely need to get that set up because I linked to it um in the video for the keynote.
Yeah, we should have it on Monday, right? Um,
Yeah,
the thing is you need to search for Flux in KubeCon, have a section for FluxCon, of course, then list all the talks that are
yeah,
Flux related on the page, and the booth.
everything that's new and exciting as well.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, probably a link to the blog post for Flux 2.7.
yep. PSA
Mm.
for migration, maybe.
And
Randomize.
a link to the migration discussion, yeah, to the
Yeah,
upgrade discussion.
yeah. Migration guide, 27GA announcement, all of the talks, FluxCon, the booth, maybe some a picture. We need more PR material for our team, by the way. So
Yeah,
at KubeCon, I want to bring Tanya's camera and catch some candids and some group photos and things of all of us, things that we can put on sites like this so that people can feel connected to the people who make this project happen. Similarly, I for things like the maintainer track talk, all of the live demos that are going to be happening, I think that we should send some extra team members to set up our own cameras to record the session from a couple of different angles, get close-ups and things like that, and take some photos. So as long as
yeah.
everyone's cool with that, I want to take this KubeCon to build a little bit of PR and marketing content, so that we can do the kinds of community outreach that makes people feel really connected and in love with our project. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, and I mean there is that photo album that CNCF posts after KubeCon with tens of thousands of pictures, and usually there is one or two from our talks, but it will be so good to have someone take the picture so we can put them in a blog post or something for after
yeah,
KubeCon blog
if
post or
you already have links of some like nice snaps of like yourself, Stefan, I can use one of those already. Just let me know.
yeah,
But
there are a couple from Paris and London as well. I need to
we should just put those in the Flux drive, so that we can get to them all the time.
yeah.
Because
Yeah. Okay, add an action item for me to dig KubeCon photos from Paris and London because I know for sure there are many.
okay, yeah. Mm, put in Flux G drive. Okay.
Yeah,
To
so
use on
another action item for you is to have an Excel with the booth rota. Um, Ask Tamo to give you the old one.
yeah. I
It's
think I have that.
probably shared with us. We probably have it in our own G drive somewhere, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get to that pretty easily. I can do
Yeah.
that in a tab I'm not sharing right now, actually.
And you have to reach out to everybody and see their availability. Dipti,
Yeah.
are you there the whole week?
Yes, I am. My
And
flight is
you,
Thursday in evening. Like, but yeah.
okay, cool. And you can help us with the Flux booth, right?
Yes.
Awesome,
Okay.
okay. Because Mateus will only be there the first day, so we need to, yeah, we need to have that Excel with with everybody by hours. So we figure
19,
out
20.
if we need more people, and so
Um,
on.
so Mateus, you're there on Tuesday, right? You're muted, Mateus.
Yeah, I think yeah, like I'll probably be on the beginning of the day on Tuesday.
When do you leave on
Like
Tuesday? Are you gonna come to Sigbola?
I don't think I'll be able to do that. Like my
Yeah.
flight is on Tuesday night, evening.
Flies out Tuesday. I think Stefan and I are leaving Friday, and um, Deep D is leaving Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday evening, 6 p.m. So I'll think I'll be around till 3 p.m. possibly.
Okay.
Okay. Very- Okay.
Kingdom is coming as well, right? I think he said
Yeah,
he's
Kingdon will
coming.
be there. I don't know what his schedule is, but I can check with him.
Yeah.
And then Tamo also said that she can, I think, do a booth day early on in the conference, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Reach
then,
out to Scott, see if Scott will come, but I
yeah,
he'll be there for sure. I don't know. Scott is also with the helm booth and so on. Not sure if we can rely much on him, but anyway, he can be backup.
I'm sure that we can ask Scott to fill in a little bit, and he'll want to do just a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
and he's always so enthusiastic and will bring a crowd of folks who will elevate the booth. Our booth is always busy. I love that about Flux about I almost said FluxCon. I mean, it feels like FluxCon happens in the Project Pavilion every year. So um
Yeah. That's my concern. It's
uh,
busy all the time, so we need at least all
I
the
have
time one person there.
I have zero talks this KubeCon very intentionally to focus on the booth. So I will be
Awesome.
there
Okay.
like the whole time. Um, but yeah, the
Wow.
we're going to put a good foot forward as we always do. All of the users are going to come. Everybody's going to be excited. A bunch of new people that we don't know and who've never heard of Flux are also going to learn about it. And they're going to want to go to all of the booths afterwards and talk about Flux with everyone. And it's just an incredible energy. I'm so excited for both of you to be there. I mean, Mateus, you saw in London, but yeah,
Yeah,
um,
Mateus did a great job in London.
yeah.
Talked to a bunch of people.
Um, cool. All right. So that's booth logistics. I have that, and you're totally right. That needs to happen like yesterday. So I'll get that schedule put together. Um,
Yeah, so the talk with Deepti is Thursday 11, and my talk with about Flux MCP is Thursday, November 13th.
Our talk is on Tuesday, right? Tuesday evening?
Yes,
Okay.
Tuesday evening, yeah, November 11, yeah.
Okay.
that's this one, right? The maintainer session. This is
Yes.
Tuesday evening when?
5:45 p.m.
5:45. Okay. We'll make sure to funnel
Uh,
people that way. So that's day one, actually, right before Sigboba.
yeah.
Um,
And my MCP server talk is Thursday 11 a.m. So Thursday morning I'll not be at the booth. I
so
will come after the talk to the booth and people will probably jump, do MCP demos and all of that stuff.
sorry, Stefan, this is a MCP demo talk is Wednesday morning,
Thursday,
Thursday morning,
November 13, 11
PM or AM.
a.m.
Okay, good. 13th, Tuesday evening, the 11th for the booth crawl. Okay. Those are the main two talks that, no, you have more. than 2 talks. You have FluxCon talks, but that's a different thing.
Yeah, but Tamao has one at so Monday, November 10, 4 p.m. is the lightning talk on
Yeah.
from Tamao.
Yep. Let's look the sched here. FluxCon, Lightning Talk, Gitless GitOps, AI assisted MCP server. Okay, yeah, that's that's where Flux is in the talk title at least. And then we can I'll do a scrub and make sure.
There's that. Anyway, these are the main. So yeah.
Cool. So we have the lightning talk, we have those 2 talks, and then we have FluxCon.
Yep.
Where everything is Flux. So um yeah, just to put it on your radar, DT, there's 2 parties that control plane is involved with. One is the FluxCon Caverno Flux party afterwards. And then Control Plane's also sponsoring Sig Boba, which is a chill non-alcoholic event after the booth crawl on day 1. So first
DP is
party
all
after
into
FluxCon.
alcohol and party. She'll come with me at the disco house.
Disco House?
No, Cube House of Cube or however it's
House of
called.
Koob. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put that in the
I'm
notes
joking.
too.
Probably
House
she
of
wants to
Koob.
go to
Yeah.
your party.
Is House of Koob on day 1?
Are they on the same day?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not day 1. Not Monday for
I
sure.
think House of Koob competes with iSurveillance Party on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah.
Because they always do those on like day 2, because that's the day where you can do all of your leads follow up, right? So they take high priority leads from the booths and all that, and they schmooze and get into the event and create conversations that happen already beforehand, and then you go and you party on Wednesday, and that's why those parties are important. But yeah, okay, great. So that's a little bit of KubeCon logistics. It's gonna be fun. Um, Kind of feels funky to do this on the publicly recorded call, but I guess people can have observability into or some transparency on what the Flux team is up to. Um, if you're on YouTube, this is how you can find us during KubeCon. And
Graham,
great.
another thing. So for FluxCon EU, the CFP ends in 3 days from now.
Uh, okay. CPV need to do.
Man, this thing crazy.
What's your temperature check on whether or not we get to extend that CFP? Because I feel like with these CFPs ending before KubeCon, like the
Is
submission
that
rate,
up to us?
it's gonna be way lower.
Is that up to us to extend the CFP deadline?
Um, I don't know if we fully I get to decide, because it is through the CNCF's co-located process. Do you know, Stefan?
Yeah, we need to reach out, but they'll probably say no, we can't extend it.
It feels pretty frustrating, because like everybody uh, who would be like the primary speakers and end users and all of the developer advocates and stuff, they're all completely focused on KubeCon right now. So asking a bunch of people to cram for our event, I think the colos will really struggle to get submissions, especially
Yeah,
quality submissions with LLMs now. We need to promo
damn.
this like really hard. Um,
Maybe a quick update about Flux 273.
Sorry, another agenda item, Mateus, 273.
Yeah, I mean, just maybe say it's out, fixing a bunch of bugs. We've been actually, I think, last week I was in the meeting and I listed all the issues that were gonna be fixed. But we can, yeah.
Hmm.
So those, and there's a couple more as well. So which ones are not there?
We have regression with SOX 5 proxy, cross controllers, regression with Telegram provider for thread ID, Helm release, retry on failure strategy fix reported for
Oh
particular
yeah, and
action.
there's retry for image policies that observe no tags in the database.
Yeah, that's a major fix that also comes with a flag. Like most other controllers have this dependency requeue flag where you can tell it, hey, if some pre-requirement is not there, how often should this be reevaluated? And we somehow missed this for when we made the reconciler in image policy. So yeah, policies would basically get stuck because of this. And now we have this flag. It has a good default like everything else. So even if you don't set the flag, just by upgrading to 7.3, policies will be retried automatically, even if you delete the controllers or the node where the controller is goes down and you spins up again. There are all sorts of situations where the Badger DB will be emptied for various reasons. Um, Unless you use persistent volume, which I think 99% of the users don't. So this was a major fix to ensure image automation runs smoothly, no matter the conditions.
Yeah, and the fifth thing is customized controller and Helm controller also allow source watcher on the loopback interface
Yeah, yeah,
through
it
an
was.
environment variable.
Yeah, so we have the source controller localhost environment variable for when you develop a controller locally and you want to port forward to source controller on some cluster and test the controller in debug mode in your ID. And we didn't have that for source watcher. And once source watcher creates the final artifact that customized on Helm controller will be dealing, it was impossible to debug it locally. You had to deploy everything in a cluster to test your changes, which is really, really annoying. So
I hadn't looked at this. Is
we,
this accurate to say customize and Helm controller now support using Source Watcher and other external artifacts on loopback for local development of your own source controllers?
yep, yeah,
Okay, cool.
And there's also the Flux all-in-one Timoni distribution, right?
yeah. And there is this use case for Flux development when you don't run the Helm or customized controller, you work on them and you don't run them in a container. You run them locally as a Go binary. And you want to connect to source controller and now source watcher running in your kind cluster or running in your EKS cluster, whatever, remotely, and you can do a port forward to that, and through that environment variable locally, you can say, hey, source watcher is on port 8080. Right, and you can debug the controller and everything, work on Helm and customized console. So this is one major use case why we originally introduced this environment variable. But the second use case is, what if you have an environment, a Kubernetes cluster that has no CNI? and you want the first thing you deploy there, you want to be Flux, and Flux should be, installing the CNI and everything. The problem with the Flux distribution as we have it in Flux 2, where each controller runs on its own, has its own deployment, its own pod, they cannot even start. You can't start a deployment, and you can't spin up source controller in a Kubernetes cluster without a CNI, because source controller requires the CNI to work, right? It exposes a service, it has ports, all the controller have a bunch of ports and so on, right? So you can't spin up Flux without the CNI. To cope with this, let's say, use case, which is for bare metal or edge clusters, I made like 1 year ago or 2 years ago this Flux all-in-one distribution where you run all the controllers in the same pod, and you can install Flux on the cluster in a cluster that has no connectivity between the pods. CNI is not there. The only requirement is the cluster has egress, so you can reach out to your Git repo or the container registry. And when all the Flux controllers run as container in a single pod, they don't talk through the CNI. They talk through the loopback interface that the pods allows, right? So in a pod, a container can reach to another container by calling localhost and that particular port. And the problem here was I was trying to add Source Watcher to Flux IO. I did all of that, studied, and I realized, oh, damn, you can't reach Source Watcher because you don't have the environment variable in the Flux controller to tell it, hey, look, try this localhost port before you go look on the CNI. So that's how I found the mistake of forgetting when adding Source Watcher to have the environment variables, and now they're also there. There are the main users of FluxIO are people that are running Talos Linux and other this kind of distributions where you deploy Talos somewhere, spins up only kubelet etcd Kubernetes API, and what people want to do is deploy Flux in there. Then Flux connects to the Git repo and installs Cilium, and Cilium basically creates the kubeproxy. So their use case, they don't even have kubeproxy on the cluster, right? So nothing actually works. You need to use host ports, and FluxIO allows you to run everything on host and connects to the Kubernetes API through the host port. So when you deploy it the first time, there is no kubeproxy, there are no IP tables, nothing, only the host network. Flux connects to the host network to talk to Kubernetes API and connects through the host network to the Git repo, installs Cilium and then Cilium creates their variant of kubeproxy through eBPF, sets up IP, sets up everything, and then Flux can deploy all the other cluster add-ons, apps, and so on. So there are lots of Flux IO users in this space where it's usually in a cloud setup, you'll never want to do that, right? Even if you don't want the built-in CNIs of, I don't know, Azure or AWS or whatever, all these cloud vendors allows you to say, I want an AKS cluster with Cilium, right? Deepti, you can do that, or with Calico, and it's fully supported on the cloud side. You don't need Flux to install Cilium. You create a cluster from scratch with Cilium or Calico or whatever, right? So for cloud deployments, you don't actually need this kind of all-in-one Flux installation. This is more for bare metal edge devices where, yeah, you do everything on your own with Talos and other. K3S, I think it comes with the CNI by default, so that's also not an issue. It's only when you you do these other more, let's say, modern or lightweight deployments like Talos.
Oh, and
Yeah,
I think one
that's
more important note from that I see in the release notes here is about Cosine, right? So Cosine version 3 was released 1 week after Flux 2.7, and there are some breaking changes. And we tried to upgrade the Cosine Go packages in Flux to V3, but it didn't work seamlessly with the cosine V2 and cosine V3 signatures. So we are currently recommending users to keep using cosine 2.6 for signing Flux artifacts and Helm charts, because support for cosine V3 is only coming in Flux 2.8.
next year. Yeah. Yeah, they did some major changes in how the signatures are advertised, their formats and everything. They switched from just simple signature to a in toto bundle, and that requires major changes on our side as well. So we can't just ship this in a patch release. Cosine version 2 version 3 was released after Flux 2.7. So
1 week.
1 week after, we are not going to do this major change in a patch release in Flux. So Flux users need to stay on Cosine version 2 another couple of months before we can add support. And we will strive to have backwards compatibility in 2.8. So basically, when you upgrade to 2.8, if you are still on cosine version 2.6, all those signatures and verification will work, and we'll also add support for V3 formats, and we are going to support both of them for at least 1 year and so on, or maybe more, because signatures are immutable. We don't expect people to not be able to roll back to older versions of their apps and charts just because the signatures change format. So we are looking at supporting cosine version 2 and version 3 next year full
Hopefully,
on.
hopefully seamlessly, right? Without needing configuration. Like
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
just would just work with both versions. Oh,
yeah, yeah. They also have, so cosine version 1, version 2, they had this format where the OCI artifact with the signature ended in .sig, so you can easily differentiate in your container registry which are images and signatures without having to look in the metadata and so on. I don't know the reason behind it, but that's gone. They removed the .sig. I'm guessing now because it's a bundle and it's more than just a signature, they didn't want to have .sig in there. But by just listing the artifacts in a registry, you can't tell which are signatures, which are, layers or whatever. You need to pick into the metadata. That's unfortunate. We have a bunch of rules in Flux everywhere when we list things to not list .sig, because it's not something that you would download in your cluster. It's something that we only use for verification. Now we can no longer differentiate through them. So that means more traffic with the registry. Unfortunately, there is no workaround around this, because to differentiate between two artifacts and figuring out one is a signature and one is not, you have to download the metadata. So that's a lot of the traffic, extra traffic for filtering out the signatures.
That sucks.
Yeah.
A lot,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's also brittle. You would almost hope that it would be part of the spec that they would include both the of course the metadata was already there, right? Um, but we
And it
weren't using
changed.
it.
The metadata changed. Now
Yeah.
it's an in total bundle, is no longer just a signature. but Flux does never looks at metadata.
Yeah,
We used to
because
do
it
that
like
in
you just only want to do the tag lists because you're getting tag lists for like everything that you're watching and automating.
yeah.
And
But
who who have we who can we talk to about that? Like it's obviously already shipped. So is that something that we want to try and change, or do we just accept that that's the new reality and what?
I think it's worth a shot. Like it's a huge impact, right?
it will not impact that much image reflector. So in order to filter out the .sig, you still have to get the pages of all the tags. What we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
doing was an optimization client side where before applying any regex filter, semver filter, and so on, we would remove all the signatures.
Yeah.
Just by
Now we
looking at
can
the
no
suffix,
longer,
right?
yeah, now we can no longer remove any signatures because they're just SHAs
Yeah.
in there.
Uh-huh.
But I hope it will not impact anyone because semver definitely, it will never match a semver expression. It starts with SHA, 2 points, and a huge string.
Yeah,
That's not a
but
semver,
yeah,
so
but
that's
like it's literally a SHA-256. Like, isn't can we just like, oh, this tag is a SHA-256? Who does tags like that? That doesn't make sense. We just
who
like we
does? I don't know. Git. When Git will not be SHA-1 anymore. No, we can't mess up with that. There's
but the
not an option.
tag will be a SHA? Like the
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
everybody uses SHAs for tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
holy shit.
It's really, really common.
Yeah, it's
And
very common.
Huh.
It's what we tell people to do. Like, of course, we ourselves we use SHAs for tags. It's common practice. You put a
yeah.
timestamp and you append the SHA. You really want to know from where
Yeah.
that artifact was built without having to look in the artifact. So
Um,
yeah, so this complicates a little bit. It will add more, let's say, work to the filters because now we cannot say, oh, these are signatures, don't include them in the filters. We'll have to include them in the filters, and they will be hopefully they will not match anyone's filters because we
I
tell
would
people to append timestamps to the SHA. So
Yeah, exactly. Like the tags are not like plain full SHA-56 strings, right? Like they're branch, a bit of the git hash, timestamp. Like if they
I've
match a
seen a
full,
bunch of repos with only Git SHAs. So that's also very common.
Is
Um,
there a way with the distribution API to request a tag list that is only for a particular content type? Like
that will be so good, but no.
why like
Because it's
why
so
would
because that
we do
API
this?
wasn't the distribution API has a list tag command, a list
Yeah.
tag
Uh-huh.
endpoint,
Yeah.
which is there since I don't know distribution 001. It
Yeah.
only returns an array of strings,
Yep.
and that's locked down forever like this.
No, yeah, but like there's no query parameters that you can add, like
Nothing. Nothing.
because you could do that outside of the distribution spec and still be compliant. Like, is Harbor like why would you make it so difficult to differentiate between an auto-generated tag from a signing tool? Am I understanding the problem correctly that we were tagging the content layer for the in toto bundle, and it was marked with its signature SHA and and the sig suffix. And now the sig suffix is gone. So the SHAs effectively indistinguishable in the tag list from application git SHAs.
Helm charts, whatever else you have in there. Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
frustrating. That's
Yeah, it
really, really
is.
frustrating. We should provide some feedback that is really frustrating. Hooped. I mean, at least with a policy, you can add like a prefix match and like fix the tags yourself as a workaround. I can hear the groan of infrastructure engineers all around the globe running into this problem in the next 2 years.
Yeah, and there is also the provenience, as salsa um, workflows, right? Where we use them everywhere to drive provenience in all of Flux.
I'm gonna ask John.
And so the salsa workflow does bundles the signature with the attestation, and they have dot att, right? Uh, so until cosine v3, you would always have the option to say exclude attestations, signatures, whatever, and I want to only deal with tags which are actual, containers for workloads or charts. Yeah, so now you'll still be able to filter out attestations because the salsa workflow is unchanged, but yeah, cosine is cosine. Yeah,
Okay.
and it is like this.
Okay. Well, we may have to update recommendations as we support cosine v3 on suggested tagging policies and stuff. Scrub our docs and then publish, a PSA.
John is in Toto, right? Maybe they have a connection.
Yeah, I
Configuration.
I can ask John the next time I chat with him. He's naturally really, 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 really busy for KubeCon. But
Yeah.
um, this this is something that should be dealt with sooner than later. So um, we need to get in. If anything, we'll be at KubeCon and we can just pop over to the Sig Store booth and be like, "Hey, how can we fix this?" That's like the latest that we should deal with this. I'll keep a note for that actually here. And by KubeCon, uh, talk to the Sig Store booth about user frustrations with cosine v3 tags. It's still soon enough where they could do an about face on this maybe. So okay. Just bold that so it doesn't get lost. All right. So for our agenda today, we talked a lot about KubeCon logistics, demo stuff. Uh, just for the benefit of the recording, Mateus, Stefan, and I had a meeting just before this meeting talking about the MCP powered demos that we want to include at the Flux booth. So get excited about that. Deep D will be we can brief you when we all get to KubeCon. We need to promo the FluxCon EU CFP. This apparently ends in 3 days. I was totally not thinking about it, so we have to try and make sure that submissions can come through for that. 273 is released. Bug fixes are out for a bunch of stuff, including an infra fix for local dev and Flux AIO clusters. We had an interesting discussion about cosine v3 and what the heck to do about the tag format changing and becoming too generic to differentiate from other things. A bunch of action items. I'm going to be setting up the KubeCon page. The booth wrote a schedule and trying to politely scream from the mountaintops about FluxCon EU. Stefan's going to go look for beautiful pictures of himself and put them in our team drive, and we're going to go talk to the six door booth come KubeCon. Um, any important stuff that we're missing so far? Because we still have 7 minutes of this meeting time block before we're starting to bleed into other things.
Yeah, I'll meet with DT separately to review the demo. No
Yeah.
more time for this. Oh, another important thing for also maybe for KubeCon, reaching out to the Helm team and discuss some of the Helm V4.
I am joining the Helm Dev Meeting today in about 30 minutes.
Cool. So let's set up some, expectations from my side. I know Mateus is not too fan of this stuff, but I'm going to set up some expectation. My expectation as a Flux user of Helm controller is that Helm controller should work with Helm v4 without any breaking changes to the Helm release API. Any new features in Helm v4 should be reflected as optional fields in the current Helm release v2 API. And my expectation is for people to have a mix of Helm charts authored with Helm v3 and with Helm v4 for at least 1-2 years from now on. Based on my experience and what happened when we had Helm operator, when we had the switch from Helm v2 to v3, tiller, non-tiller, it took people 2 years to actually make the switch. Also inside the charts, it's one thing, what we run on the server, we have full control of Helm controller. We can do whatever we want in there to ensure whatever we want, but we can't just tell people, hey, starting with Flux 2.8, you need to redo all your Helm charts with the new standard of Helm v4. So maybe you haven't looked at it, but what Helm v4 does, it comes with the new chart API. Currently, the chart API spec is version 1, right, Mateus? And now it's going to version 2.
No,
No,
I think it's going from 2 to 3. In Helm
to
4,
3.
it's
Yeah.
Chat API
Yeah.
v3.
So Helm 4 is Chart API v3. Chart API v3 is very different from v2. Chart API v2, which Helm version 3, that's how version 3 created the charts. My expectation is that people will want to use Helm controller, the latest version, to install Helm charts made with Helm version 3, aka Chart API version 2, and newer Helm charts made with Helm version 4, Chart API version 3. So we need to find a way for Helm controller to be able to work with these both versions without breaking people's clusters. We can't say, oh, sorry, you've upgraded to Flux 2.8. Now you need to rewrite all your charts. So
Yeah.
as a
Like,
historical point, one second, as a historical point, Flux operator supported Helm version 2 and Helm version 3 for 2 years in parallel. And I think we would have to do the same stuff for Helm controller. I see no other way around it.
I captured
what-
these notes, Mateus, in the action items. If you could please reference these 5 bullet points. You can even just use the dev notes when you talk to the Helm team so that none of this gets missed. That'd be really awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, so one thing we discussed last night, Stefan, is about I asked if somebody with chart API v2 would want to run with Helm 4, and you said yes, that's a possible use case. So to make that work, like users should be able to choose what engine is going to run, right? Helm 3
Yeah.
or Helm 4. And also I remember last night you saying that we can't do this controller level, right? Like we may want for some charts do some things and for others do other things. So I'm basically like, how about the spec field that says the version of the engine?
Yeah. There is no other way around it. Like we can't have a controller flag because then you'll need to run two Helm controllers for all charts, another Helm controller. Of course, you can do it because we have sharding, we have labels. It's possible, but I think it complicates a lot the
Yeah.
deployment of Flux itself, and it's going to be hard. What are Azure plans, Deepti, around Helm? I know Azure is all around. I mean, all the Azure marketplace is Helm. Everything is Helm. How is Azure going to deal with Helm breaking changes?
Yeah, I think we have to start planning for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So ideally, in an ideal world, the Helm project would deal with this on their own, and we would import the new SDK, and the new SDK would look at the chart, see, oh, this chart is older, let me switch to legacy mode or whatever, right? Like what Microsoft is doing with Office. They are embedding in latest version of Office is Office from 20 years ago. But I don't think the Helm team has this kind of plans.
And
By looking
if
at the
we
code, it doesn't look like that.
if we import the V3 SDK and there's CVEs, like will they keep releasing 3 dot something?
So there is another problem. Let's say if we import both SDKs, V3 and V4, both of them, they import all the Kubernetes API packages, customized packages, kubectl packages, which come with many other packages. If they don't bump the version of kube packages in V3 and they say, no, we freeze V3, we don't do any patch releases of V3 ever, once there is a breaking change in the future in any of these shared packages, all of Kubernetes, all of Customize, all that stuff, one single breaking change will be, for us, it'll be impossible to build Flux anymore. Because you will import client Go 135, which has a breaking change from 133, which is the latest one imported in Helm v3, and you can't build anything anymore because this is how Go toolchain works, right? Even if we can import both Helm SDKs, because they are major version, they are basically different packages, their dependencies have no major version. Like Kubernetes will never do a Kubernetes v2, right? So they are just shipping breaking changes in patch releases. That means any breaking change like we had last year in client Go and Customize will mean we are stuck. And then we have to drop Helm version 3 from Flux. So that's another thing that needs to be discussed. Are they going to update? Do we need to fork as the Flux project? Do we need to fork Helm and run our own fork of Helm v3 for 1-2 years until people can actually move? But as I said, in an ideal world, the Helm version 4 SDK should be fully backwards compatible with all charts and should keep the all behavior for all things, like how they did health checking in V3, how they did client-side apply in V3. That should
But
be
are you
preserved in
saying that
V4.
are you saying that the Helm 4 engine should detect the like from the chart version, like the chart API version, should keep the previous behavior? Or
That
because
or have some legacy flag. If you look at the Helm V4 source code, for example, for how you do health checking, they have weight equal legacy, and they do health checking how version 3 did, right? So you can use the new health checking like in Flux case status, or you can swap to the legacy one. But do they have legacy for the apply, for all the other things, for how hooks work, for how tests work? Like there are so many behaviors
so
that
but
would
you're
need
saying then
this legacy flag.
you're saying like I have all my charts on the previous version. Now I upgrade Helm CLI in my machine to V4, and if I use this new version of the CLI with all my charts, it should either work seamlessly with the same behavior as before, or I should have to run the Helm 4 CLI with some flags that will produce an equivalent behavior of before.
Yeah, yeah. So I spent some time reading the health check code and the apply code. In both cases, it feels like the old code is preserved and it's an option to get to it. For example, weight has this legacy thing that goes to the old code, so the old code is not deleted. For applying, I see there are some fallbacks to the three-way merge they used to do in V3. But I haven't figured out a way, how can I say, I don't want server-side apply, use this. I'm not sure.
But I guess that you're saying that the ideal world for us is if we can import the SDK only V4, we don't have to import V3, and to mimic or execute the V3 behavior, all we have to do is to pass the right inputs to engine V4.
Yeah. As in, we would have in the Helm release a field compatibility V3.
Or
And
just
if
version, like engine version or something, 3 or 4, basically.
yeah. And based on a simple flag on this field in the Helm release, let's say compatibility mode Helm V3, then we would set the legacy flags everywhere in the V4 SDK to get the behavior of V3 without having to import both SDKs. That would be ideal. Now, what happens if this stuff does not actually work and you set legacy, but the behavior is actually changed, or there isn't legacy everywhere as a behavior, and you can only do apply like server-side apply. And that will break charts that we have no idea of. I mean, how can we even test in Flux that, oh, all these charts out there work? I mean, there are like millions of charts. We don't know what's in there. We don't know how server-side apply would affect this stuff. So it's very, very tricky. We also have to consider that our users will be very slow in upgrading charts. Like this is I mean, I guess the Helm team is also aware that people will not switch tomorrow, will not rebuild all their charts. They will probably have charts created with V3 for years to come. Yeah.
All right.
It looks like you have access to the dev notes, Mateus,
You're
for
looking at Helm agenda?
yeah, those are the Helm weekly dev notes that I'm sharing on the screen right now. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just added an item
yeah,
there.
cool. I was just pinging Scott asking him to give you edit permissions, but it looks like you've already
Yeah, he
edited
gave
once
me
before.
yesterday.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Um Great.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's hugely important.
I
So
guess
we
I know
captured
how to
that.
approach them for this.
How can I make this like we never like make this a heading here. Action items, and then um I can do like can link to the action items right here. Yep. Okay, and we can just put that. Can you accept my suggestion here? Flux Dev Meeting notes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, here we go. And I'm just gonna apply that so that people can link directly to it. Cool.
Okay. Let us know how the Helm team meeting went.
Okay.
Great.
Mm.
Cool. Well, that concludes our agenda, and we're 10 minutes over. And it looks
Yeah.
like DT had to drop for another meeting. So let's stop the recording. And
Yep.
if you're watching this on
See
the
you next
internet,
week.
then yeah, get in touch with us on Slack or something. And I'm gonna stop the recording now. How do I do that? More stop.